Now, if you could buy a state, I know, if you could buy a state, give me a state for just for doing some nice things, Alex. I'll take West Virginia. Owns it. Now, I really want to know, because I'm gonna look into this. I really want to know what Joe Manchin is thinking right now. How do I pull this off? How do I convince the people of West Virginia that I am the senator that they need, although I have a D on the front of my name? Okay? I am still the governor of West Virginia that you loved as a Democrat. The last, if I remember right, the last Democrat governor, Joe Manchin, right? If I remember, I could be wrong. But Joe's wondering, how do I manipulate this, move this around? Now, sources tell me right from the Senate, as about as high as you can go in the Senate, that the Republicans have been in Joe's office several times. This is what sources tell me right there in the old D.C. swamp. And they've been in there several times. And, Joe, come on now. You got to switch over and go with us. No, 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 no. Old Granddaddy Manchin would roll over in his grave in West Virginia if he ever thought that one of his Manchin, kin was, or grandkids was a Republican. Now, that's serious, folks. You ought to understand, in West by God, Virginia, nobody takes into account what a switch has been made. That was the toughest blue Union state you could ever walk in. All right? Ever walk in. Toughest blue. There was no way. I'm going to throw this out. Oh, hell, I hope. I'm going to get in trouble. I hope there's nobody in my family watching, which is, I hope that's the case. Okay. My grandfather from West Virginia, a Democrat. Oh, God, a hard Democrat. My grandfather was a hard Democrat. Now, my mom, why the hell am I telling this story? Now, my mom was a Democrat. Oh, God, yes, a Democrat, hard Democrat. Her dad, I'll just say Earl. We'll leave it at Earl. My grandpa Earl was a hard Democrat. Oh, God. Robert Byrd, hard Democrat, my grandpa Earl was. Never heard Grandpa Earl say a nice word about a Republican. Then my dad came along as a Republican, and oh, God, all hell broke loose in that house. All hell broke loose. Now, my mom started out a Democrat, but she turned around and became a Republican. And one time somebody asked my mom, why did you become a Republican? You're a Democrat your whole life. Why did you become a... She said, all of my kids became Republicans, and I just had no choice. Every one of my kids are Republicans, and so that's the whole family. I had no choice. But I'll never forget the fear she had of her dad finding out that she may be a Republican. I'm serious. So that little story, let me move on past that. That little story, Manchin, and the reason I told that story, Manchin has, when you think it's this simple, okay, you got to look up Joe Manchin of West Virginia. You got to look up the AJ Manchin. Go back. The Manchin name is deep in that soil of those mountains of West Virginia, in the Democrat column, deep in that column, okay? So that being said, they've begged Joe to switch. Now, let me go with something else. They've tried to tear up Secretary of State Tillerson. All right. They are still doing shows in the morning of, Tillerson and Trump, the moron. Okay. They've tried to tear that down. Globalists tried to tear that down, right? HHS, that's control of the people. HHS secretary, control the people. You control their health care, you control the people, okay? Oh, you better get clear on the government wants to control you. All right. So HHS Secretary Tom Price didn't get the job done, took him down. All right. Watch what's happening out there. Watch what's taking place. They're trying everything to divide Secretary of Defense Mattis and Donald Trump. Trying everything. They're trying everything to divide General John Kelly, Chief of Staff, and Donald Trump. Everything. My new hero, well, not new hero, but my hero, that every time you think Trump is not going to follow through with the campaign promise. See, let's get clear. There is Trump following through with the campaign promise, and the media likes to say Trump playing to his base. Don't forget, Trump playing to his base, these are union workers in Pennsylvania, union workers in Ohio, union workers in Michigan. These are farmers out west. These are people from coast to coast. He even got some votes in New Jersey, and he got some votes in New York, he got some votes from California. But coast to coast, his base was based on what we remember was so great. Trump brought to our front lobe here the memory and the pictures of what we remember to be so great in this country. Now, we know that Obama said, if you want to open a coal plant, you can, but we're going to bankrupt it. Remember? Right? Hillary Clinton said she's going to put him out of work. My hero, Scott Pruitt. Now, this is Scott and Donald Trump. This is my hero, EPA, Secretary of the EPA, Scott Pruitt. Now, just from memory, let me see. Is he the former Attorney General of Oklahoma? Is that who Scott Pruitt is? Former Attorney General of Oklahoma? I don't know. EPA to withdraw. Oh, Trump owns West Virginia. To withdraw power plant rules. Clean Power Plant was designed by Obama administration to limit greenhouse gas emissions. The Trump administration is formally withdrawing federal limits on carbon emissions at power plants, triggering the next stage of what is likely to be a years-long fight over the government centerpiece regulation for slowing climate change. The move pushes forward on a central pledge of President Donald Trump, a rollback of Obama-era environmental rules he has criticized for harming businesses and coal miners in particular. Oh, Joe, what are you going to do? Oh, Joe. In particular, and it pushes the federal government further away from any effort to combat global warming. Oh, we are pushed so far away to combating global warming following Mr. Trump's June announcement that he intends to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. How can I get a cheer? Is that what I'm hearing through the camera? Is America cheering? America saying, I told you Trump will keep his promise. Keep this in mind. If President Trump, Donald Trump, can himself, this is why you have to pay. I know I keep telling you to pay attention. You don't like when I do that. But this is why you have to pay attention. Because Trump is sending everyone home. It's like they got out of Trump school. Wow. He did have Trump University. It's like he schooled these poor little boys and girls. Okay? They want you to believe that Trump is the bad kid that pulled Lisa Murkowski's pigtails. Right? Trump has schooled them all. Because let me tell you, the brilliance that has taken place that you don't like to hear from me because you don't like this level. If Trump can do it himself, he kept the campaign promise exactly as he promised you on the campaign trail. But when it was up to Congress, his pen is still like this. Trump sits in the Oval Office like this. The door opens. You got a piece of legislation? Damn, I thought that was... What's that? Piece of legislation? No. Just the mail, sir. Just the mail. Trump has kept his word on anything he can do. But anything that required action from Congress, which would be the Republicans, which would be in charge, they have failed. Republicans have failed. Republican House. Now, before you yell through the camera, well, my representative, that's a good man, that's a good woman, I like my representative. Okay, all right, okay. My representative has done a good job. Well, let me tell you, there's a couple out there that have done a good job. We're not taking, but in general, the body of the Republican Party in the House of Representatives did not get it done. Mitch McConnell, the body of the Senate, did not get it done, the Republicans. Now, America did not, lose their G2 overnight. They didn't do it. The G2's not going right overnight. So don't get nervous that voters are going to rush to put these Democrats in because Republicans didn't get it done. If you like to trade baseball cards, okay, there's a team. They got a guy that's not doing so well. The team doesn't change. They just trade the player, bring in a new player. We're getting ready to trade up on some Republicans in this country. You watch and see. I'm going to take a brief break and come back. I'm going to stay with Scott Pruitt, going to stay with Donald Trump. So this is one segment. We'll be right back after these messages. Folks, we have been together for a long time. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show, the voice of rural America. We have been together for a long time. We have studied Trump. We have studied the swamp. We know the swamp. You will not go to the ballot box and trade. You will not go to the ballot box and trade a Republican for a Democrat. You're going to go to the ballot box and trade an establishment Republican, an incumbent, for a big. Let's sort through the people that really want to help the president drain the swamp. Well, that being said, when you read articles, the New York Times, Trump's fight with Corker jeopardizes his legislative agenda. Folks, it does not. President Trump, this is from the New York Times, President Trump's latest rupture with a Republican senator has widened. All right, widened. Oh, excuse me, I had to eat these almonds. Legislative agenda, potentially jeopardizing the future of his legislative agenda, even as he presses lawmakers to approve deep tax cuts, according to veteran Republican and independent analysts. Bob Corker of Tennessee is not what's jeopardizing tax cuts. So keep in mind, okay? Keep in mind, every member of the House of Representatives that goes home to be reelected, every member of the Senate that goes home to be reelected, everyone that tries to run on, I didn't vote for a tax cut. I jeopardized your agenda that you said you wanted the President of the United States. I did not vote for X, Y, and Z because I don't like Donald Trump. I did not vote for you to have a tax break, better insurance, get rid of Obamacare, I did not vote for any of this because Donald Trump sent a tweet and it just made me mad. Watch out, folks. Oh, it won't play at home. Donald Trump sent them all home. I'm trying to tell you this, okay? Now, Steve Bannon, I told you this on the show. Bannon left just in time, right? Bannon left just in time. They're going to try to push, if they have to get rid of, they know West Virginia's in prime position, okay? This Evan Jenkins is a Democrat. So they know West Virginia is a prime position and a prime place to get rid of Manchin, but they don't really want to get rid of Joe Manchin. They just want to claim to you they're picking up a seat. We have to stop. We have to stop feeling like we're picking up a seat. No. Republicans may have found their man. I told you this earlier. Mitch McConnell and Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado, the chairman of the party's Senate campaign arm, have been actively recruiting a slate of midterm candidates since last year. They've been filtering through the establishment to put in place. Before the presidential campaign concluded, several Democrats appear vulnerable at the onset of the midterm cycle, and Republicans are hoping to build on their 52-seat majority. Not true. They are not vulnerable. The Republicans are looking to make sure they maintain the swamp. Now, Steve Bannon is not going to accept that. He's not going to. It's not going to happen. Steve Bannon left right in time. I said, I have the shows to prove it. Steve Bannon's next victims. Steve Bannon and his allies are planning a hostile takeover of the Republican Party, and only one senator running in 2018 gets a free pass. Bannon will not find somebody to primary Ted Cruz. Okay? I want to get to the one. I had it here a minute ago. Let's see if I can find it. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. I thought I had it here just a minute ago. In West Virginia. I had the primary candidate just a minute ago that Bannon is pushing in West Virginia. I don't have that now. Bannon is pushing a primary candidate against Evan Jenkins in West Virginia. He's pushing a primary candidate. Don't have time to find that. Only one senator will Bannon not primary. So watch the money, watch the people, watch what happens, watch what Trump has done in this grand scheme of how he's going to send everybody back. Bannon did not leave the White House. So you think Trump ran and said drain the swamp and he thought in 8 years it could be done? Bannon said this is something that has taken 50 years. This will take 20 years to come close to returning and turning it around. So for those of you that may not like it, tax reform, they have to go home and answer for it if they don't give it to the American people. Repealing Obamacare, they have to go home and answer for it if they don't give it to the American people. Every single thing they ran on, they will have to go home and explain to the American people why they did not. And they will not be able to say it's the dysfunction of the West Wing. That will not work at home. The American people, no matter what polls you see, do not see Donald Trump as the problem. I know you're going to argue. You're going to say, no, he has done this. Whoa. When it gets home and that candidate has to explain, the last thing they could do is say, well, things were coming right along with negotiations, and Donald Trump sent out a tweet. Okay, so he sent out a tweet. Okay. Well, Donald Trump called a senator an ugly name. He called John. All right. So, and I don't have a tax break, and for what reason? Well, one day we were ready to repeal Obamacare, and John McCain was going to vote yes, and your insurance premium was going to go down, and you were going to be able to buy across state lines. And then Donald Trump sent out a tweet. Okay, and so that's why I'm paying a 30% increase on my, insurance. Really? Won't play at home? We're going to stay on this? West Virginia coal is a Donald Trump gold mine. West Virginia black coal is a Donald Trump gold mine. And mine it is. Joe Manchin may be the last Democrat to come from that state for a long time. I'm your host, BKP. I really enjoyed the show this morning. I hope you have too. We do not have a show tonight on account of the Gilmer Bobcats were off last week. We do not have a show tomorrow night because of the Bannon Rebels were off last week. We do not have a show after a bye week, but everybody's playing Friday night. We'll be on the sidelines. We got a lot going on. I want to ask you to go to fetchyournews.com before we close. I just want to tell you one more time. You say, hey, how do I find this? Go to fetchyournews.com and sign up for our newsletter, okay? When you get down on the right-hand side, it says newsletter. Is this how it works, Rose? It says newsletter, right? It's that simple?
It will actually say subscribe, and then you can do that on any page within our website. Also, you can subscribe. It says newsletter, sign up on our Facebook page.
Right. So you can even sign up on the Facebook page. You get the newsletter.
You can do that, or on our website, yes.
And the newsletter focuses on just a large variety of stories all around North Georgia that we cover, right?
That's correct. We normally highlight 4 to 5 breaking news stories from your local North Georgia area.
I tell you what, for somebody who wants a cat, you're pretty sharp. Rose is all right. I have a lot of fun here. I enjoy the staff. We have a whole lot of fun here at fetchyournews.com. I always give them a hard time about different things. I want to find something here. There's on Towns County. I want you to go look at something for me, folks, on Towns County, okay? I want you to go to fetchyournews.com, click on Towns County. I want to know what you think. Is it a tax or a fee? The conflict between mayor candidates heat up. Hiawassee, Georgia. If you've been paying attention to Blue Ridge, Hiawassee, Georgia, the candidates for mayor there really starting to heat up. Robin's doing an outstanding job. You have one candidate that voted for a franchise fee for businesses in Hiawassee. You have her opponent, which you can read all about it, saying that she raised taxes. His opponent, she raised taxes. She says it's a fee. He says it's a tax. What is it? Don't you love the government sends us new fees, but they say they don't, raise taxes? So check that out in Towns County. And I'm going to leave you with this. The Vegas shooter, Steve Paddock, are you keeping up with the timeline is changing? Are you keeping up with there's a different timeline and a couple of new events that have entered into this? I don't know, folks, but I am asking you to question this, to question it, and look at it for yourself. And don't believe what's on that television that those people are telling you about Vegas. Just watch it yourself. I'm your host, BKP. It's 10 o'clock. Richie will be in tomorrow. He'll be covering for me on Wednesday, and I'll be back on Thursday. I'm your host, BKP. Have a nice afternoon, rest of the morning. Top of the morning to you. Take us out.